how do you balance that with establishing, I don't know if I want to use that word, I get a question in teaching improv a bit myself, a lot of the time, about balancing the connection with a grounding in a reality or a space or a temporal thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I may know what you're talking about. Let's see.
Giving the scene a location, giving the scene
oh, yeah, okay, fine. I don't give a shit about exposition. I don't care about it at all. I don't care about your who, your what, your where.
Not even necessarily exposition, but just not being a free-floating...
Well, hear me out.
Yeah.
And I'm talking long form here. Because short form will take care of itself. Because usually you get a who, what, where, you'll get all that. I don't care about the exposition. Because if we're taught to go, if we're taught to, and this is one of those drill it in your head that the groundlings do, and God bless them, if you are taught the who, the what, and the where at the beginning of the scene, we're taught to go off the last bit of inspiration, right? We're taught to respond to the last bit of inspiration. So if I'm talking to you about the who, the what, and the where, we're about to talk about the where, aren't we? If I have to establish the who, the what, and the where at the beginning of the scene, and we're going to the last thing said, the last thing I'm saying is the where. Do you follow me? If I'm going off the where, the what, and the who, the last thing I said is the who. If I'm going the where, the who, and the what, the last thing is the what. The one thing missing out of all of that is the only reason to fucking go to theater, and that's the relationship between the two people, the behavior that these two people are having on stage. So I don't give a shit how much you know about the banking industry, or if your bike's broken. I don't give a fuck about it. Nobody is in the afterwards goes outside into the lobby and says, boy, they fixed the bike. Nobody cares about that. All right, so if you're in a long form and we are dealing with each other in that moment, the who, the what, and the where is all going to be established. If at any point you feel like I'm a doctor, then call me doctor. If you feel at some point you want to get up and touch something and it inspires you to where it is that you are, let's deal with that. But right now, I think too much of, and I'm not knocking it, because if you can do it, that's great. I have no interest in it, and that's okay. If the who, the what, and the where is going to come out in the scene, and if you are sitting there needing the who, the what, and the where, if you need it, then I just want you to be patient. It's coming, man. It's coming. Because really what I want to know is, how can you and I develop our characters? How can we explore and evolve and unfold and unfurl this relationship that we have? So we have pressure, tension, and dynamic, which drives this scene forward. And that's what I want to see. I want to see you act. I want to be in response to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm saying, you are never nowhere. And if I'm in a scene with you,
right.
you are, the way that you just held your glasses in that moment made me think that you're my professor and there's a desk in between the two of us. Right? No matter what it is that you're doing, I am waiting for you to, or I am open to, I'm present to, I'm mindful to, you doing something that will put me where it is that I am so that we can get that fucking thing out of the way. But if I go to the who, the what, and the where, and all of that, then I got to invent a reason for us to be together. And that's where the lines like, oh, I fucked your wife came in. You know? Or one of these things where you're going, really? Really? You're bringing in something that isn't here. Your brain is a liar and an asshole. And it's going to try to throw you off. It's going to try to throw you off. The only thing you ever know at any time is how you're feeling. That's the only thing you ever know, is how you're feeling. Right now, you don't know that there's gas in your car. You don't know that there's air in your tires. You don't know that your cat is okay in your house. But you do know right now you're probably worried. That's great. Be worried. That's a wonderful state to be in on stage. Then you don't have to invent anything. Mark Twain said, if you're truthful, if you're honest, I'm paraphrasing, if you're honest, you don't have to remember anything. And I feel like if you're honest on stage, if you're honest and connected to your emotional content, you don't have to invent anything. And Picasso said, I don't invent, I discover. The implication is it's all here. So, let's have a workshop on environment, but know that the scene isn't about, the bank. Because then you're going to have to figure out what the scene is about. And the scene is already there, man. It's already there in the relationship. relationship that we have. We just have to open up our heart and our gut. The heart and your gut is what drives us. And we have to be aware that whenever that inspiration comes in a little, it's a ting, it's a sound, and it's very quiet. But you know the moment that you're inspired by something, you feel differently. In that moment, you feel differently. You have an idea, and you feel differently. You've been exposed to something that you didn't think about before, and you feel differently. So what do you do with that? You run with it. Because the inspiration is this tiny thing that goes, and then suddenly you go, oh, you're there, and it runs, goes, I've been waiting for you. It's like, yeah, we're here together, right? Right? But we've got to know that this thing here doesn't belong up here. It belongs here and here, and sometimes here. Right?
Speaking of here, another sort of question that I had sort of planned to ask, and seems like a good juncture. What turns you on?
Fearlessness. Fearlessness turns me on. I just love it. I love it. I love Thelonious Monk. I love it. He was such a crazy man. I just fucking love him. And he said, I don't play the wrong note, I just justify the next one. And I'm like, wow. So fearlessness, Picasso, fearlessness. Amelia Earhart, fearlessness. Anybody that's going to go, Yoko Ono, fearlessness. You know, going, I don't give a shit about anybody that can come up on stage and be connected to somebody. Connected, that turns me on. Anybody that can talk to me and listen to me, listening turns me on. It's that idea of, do you hear me? Do you hear me? Are you waiting for me not to talk so that you can tell me how interesting you are? When you walk away from me, oh, I'm just bored. I go to the Y in Hollywood, and these guys are watching they're watching sports, and I'm listening and saying, yeah, I was on the 14-hour, like, can you believe it? No, it's good. It's a game. What a great game. It was a great game. Oh, you're wrong. And they walk away, and I'm thinking, those guys they don't meet each other. There was no relationship there. They just spewed facts. 9, 14, 6 pounds. See you later. You know what I mean? There's nothing going on there. And it pisses me off. It's like, you are living in a world. Be mindful. We talked about it. Be present. Be mindful. Don't be a fucking douchebag. I think that's
We're working on a definition of it earlier this year.
Yeah, douchebag, one of the definitions is if your car is loud, not douchebag.
Yeah, not the music.
No. If your car is, your mode of transportation is not a helicopter or an airplane, is louder than it needs to be. Yeah, we're talking about souping up a helicopter because you're a douchebag. But, yeah. So that turns me on. Fearlessness turns me on. And somebody that is always, I'm watching them on stage and I'm going, I didn't expect that. They went there, they heard that, they were present to that, they were present to that, they were mindful of that, they were present to that. And green eyes and blue eyes. And smiles. Kittens. I like jazz too. I really, I've been listening to, I think it's the 50th anniversary of My Favorite Things. John Coltrane's My Favorite Things. And that changed everything. That changed everything, you know? And I was listening to Miles Davis today. Kind of blue, yeah.
Kind of blue.
Kind of was listening to that today on the airplane on the way over here, and I'm thinking, boy, oh boy, man, you just went, you changed everything. And the idea that if you have something to say it, do it, say it. If you have a project, do it. Because chances are whatever you think it's going to turn into is not going to be what it is that you thought it was going to be, and it's going to be so much greater than what you fucking thought it was going to be. And it's the same thing in a scene. If you're in a scene and you say, you know, if you're in a scene and you're going, oh, I know how this scene's going to end. I know what the scene's about. You're definitely not listening. Because you're already on a path of what the scene's about. Why should I be there? There's this great tool that other actors use to get you to what the scene is about. It's called the script. And I don't use that. I'm not using it right now. So, you know, just because you start a scene in the doctor's office doesn't mean you can't at the end of the scene, sacrifice a goat. Like, let's sacrifice a goat, okay.
I had a few doctor's visits like that.
Yeah. When you're 50, when you're in your 50s, there's a lot of that.
All right, so.
Sorry, just on my last doctor's.
I was going to ask what things turn you off, but it sounds like we kind of.
I think we nailed it. We nailed it.
So,
all that is not that. All that is not that. Yeah.
All right. So okay. Imagine there's a heaven.
Yes.
And when you die, you go there.
Yes.
And you're at the pearly gates or the whole booth of shame or whatever they have up there. And there's the obligatory guardian, and he, she, or it asks you, or is talking about your life. What would you want them to tell you about your life? What would you want? What account would you want them to give you of you?
God, there's so many things there
Yeah.
that make me, because I don't believe in
Yeah,
heaven, and I don't believe in a pearly gate, and I don't believe in a judgment, and I don't believe in any of that. But I would like to, well, this is it. This is, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. You made a difference in people's lives. That's all. Everybody has an intention, and we have a want and an intention. And whether you have written down your intention or have been directed toward your intention, you get your intention. You always get what it is that you want. And I remember thinking years ago, I was probably in the single digits, thinking, I want to make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I do.
It's early.
Yeah. I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and I knew that I want to make a difference in people's lives, and I make a difference in people's lives, and I'm blessed in it. And the letters that I get, and the emails that I get, letters, who gets letters? The emails that I get, the things that people say, just are humbling. And one of the great things that I realized this year is, this year and the past couple of years, is the idea of replacing ambition with gratefulness. Think about that. Replacing ambition with gratefulness. The idea of wanting what it is that you have. And it goes back to, and I get choked up about it, it goes back to being an improv scene and being grateful for what you have. And placing ambition with gratefulness. And the moment that that hit me, it was like, wow, that just slows everything down. It's not that it slows everything down, it's just suddenly I am made more aware of the moments that we have here. The people that I know that are just in the ether of being famous, they always knew what it was that they wanted. Carell Colbert, Amy Sedaris. Amy always knew what she wanted. I remember when Amy got onto main stage, David moved to Chicago, and David Sedaris, he would always watch our shows. He'd sit through the rehearsals. And those two guys would just talk about the projects that they were doing, like these ridiculous projects. They would have plays on the beach, and they would just dress up in fat costumes or like fuck with their mom. And it was like, they could stick with people. And I think Amy turned down Saturday Night Live because it wasn't what it was that she wanted. And again, it goes back to, what is it that you want?